Welcome to a brand new episode of Spiritual Asshole. I'm so excited to be joined by Marni Kinrys. She's the founder of the Wing Girl Method, attraction and dating coach, and a YouTube influencer. Marni, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting in my bathroom right now, ready to do this interview.
We're both in separate bathrooms. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's how we do all of our podcasts.
that should be a podcast, like sitting on the can.
I'm
Like
sure
that.
it is. People are like, anything to get numbers, please.
I know, true. There's like nothing creative now. That's what they're gonna do. I love
That's
it.
it. So I love your videos. I stumble across them organically. And first question, what do women really want besides a back rub and really comfy pajamas?
I mean, that's it. It really is. Honestly, now I'm almost 42. I'm like, that is all I want is a pair of comfy pajamas and a backpack. No, I mean, oh God, I could go on and on about all the things that we want, but all the things that men want too. We want love, being adored. We want to feel special. We want to feel like somebody sees us beyond what we look like. We want to be appreciated for who we are, not just the things that we do. Yeah, that's what humans want, right? But
Yeah.
we want it.
I really love what you do because I feel like you're kind of like the female Hitch. I'm sure that this has been said before, but it does feel like you're really looking out for the quote unquote nice guys. And I used to be one of those guys. And like a lot of your videos are like, stop being so fucking nice, which is which is really funny. It's like every video you're like, stop being nice, motherfucker. And I'm like, wow. So
You're speaking directly to me.
yeah. So why is being nice not great?
Well, the thing is that when I say nice, I usually use air quotes because by definition, be nice. Being nice is absolutely amazing, but being Mr. Nice Guy is totally different. Being Mr. Nice Guy is not actually nice. It's really, a different side of the coin from being a jerk and an asshole. It's equally as awful to both you and the person that you're interacting with, because being Mr. Nice is when you're being meek, weak, passive. You're not expressing who you are, and you're not really giving the other person on the other side the benefit of the doubt of taking you in for the person that you can be.
So how can we stop being so nice besides starting to bring a bunch of guns to dates?
You start really getting clear on who you are. Because I think so many guys that I work with, the first exercise that I give them is this document that really explains to them who they are by them themselves explaining to themselves who they are. So it has them listing out their values, listing out their boundaries, listing out their rules against other people, listing the things that they want, listing the things that they like. So many people don't give these things thought, but when you put it all on paper and can see that you're about way more than just being Mr. Nice Guy, you can then start to respect yourself more, build confidence, and then show that person to the people that you're interacting with.
How much of dating do you think our childhood dynamics plays out?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think a ton. I mean, your childhood dynamics, they basically create you for the rest of your life. It's funny because I'm a mom now and I have a 5 and an 8-year-old boy. And every time that I'm talking with them or I'm arguing with them or I'm loving them, I'm just thinking about what is this doing to your brain? And
Wow.
what do to you later on in life? Like, what's your belief system going to be because of our interaction right now? So
That's so good that you're doing that. So many parents are like, I'm fucking great. You're the problem. I'm like, oh, really? I don't think that's how that's working.
like I see it differently than
Yeah, I don't think that's how.
it's so interesting because I forgot what the quote is, but it's like children are, oh God, was it like great observers, but they're horrible. I forget what the word is, but it's basically like to delve into what actually is going on. So they observe a lot of things. They're just bad at understanding what things actually mean. Everything is black and white, right? Oh,
Right.
you did this to me, therefore I'm this kind of person, and everybody feels that way about me. Or my mom called me annoying today. That means I'm annoying for the rest of my life, not just in that instance. So black and white, and that carries through with us. So 100% when you get into your dating life, those things are going to pass over. Those insecurities are there, and those wonderful beliefs that you have about yourself are there too, plus all of the interactions that you've had with your mom and your dad, and like beliefs about everything gets passed on.
That's honestly why I was really drawn to your stuff, because you really focus on the psychology and specifically your own self-talk. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you're familiar with Neville Goddard, but he's an old, yeah, and he always said like your internal state is just reflected back to you. It's just a mirror.
Yeah.
So everything that you believe about yourself will just be reflected back to you. And that's why I love when you were talking a lot about like when you approach a woman, like what are you saying to yourself right then and there? So like, how come you decided to attack it from that approach?
I think that's just because that's the way that my brain works. I'm a psychology major and I've always seen humans like that. I've always been analyzing and observing. And really, I'm trying to understand my own behavior and my own makeup, but then I'm passing that on to other people. And I've been doing this for 18 years and I've gotten to speak to amazing psychologists, anthropologists, sociologists, like pickup artists, like just amazing people who just like dive into how do people work? How does their brain work?
Right.
And it's an area that fascinates me. And I think the more that you understand yourself, the better you can navigate through life.
Right. And especially with dating.
100%.
So, yeah. So, what is your story? Like, how the hell did you start doing this?
I did it as a joke. Like I honestly, had just started dating my now husband, and I went to a singles mixer at a rabbi's house with my best friend who was
Classic.
just newly single and like really depressed about being single. So I'm like, okay, I'll go window shop, see what's there. And I got to the singles mixer and nobody was talking to each other. Like men were over here, women were over here, and my friend was depressed. And so I was like, okay, I have to make her happy. I started grabbing guys, prepping them to talk to her, saying things that she liked, and I would then put them onto her and they would start a conversation with each other. And then once she was taken care of, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to help other people. And I started doing the same thing for other people that were there and just pairing people up and being their wing girl. You know, it didn't exist at that time, but I went home after that event and I said to my roommate, I was like, I love what I did tonight. I want to do that for other men. I want to be their wing girl. And he's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Men do not want advice from women on how to get girls. They definitely don't want like physical help on how to get girls because that will belittle them. And I said, I don't think you're right. I marched into my bedroom. I posted an ad on Craigslist. This is like old school.
Nice.
I said, it was like in the category of like men seeking women. What better way than to attract bees than with honey? Sit back and relax. I'll be your wing girl. I'll pick up women for you and you do nothing. And like,
Wow.
and by the next morning, I had like 80 guys write into me saying, like, what is this? I want to do it. And so
Holy
I
shit.
started. Yeah.
So, how did it start? So, you literally would go out with these guys?
Yeah. It was me
What?
and actually the friend that was at the singles mixer with me. We would go out with guys. We would talk to the guys for like half an hour before, prep them, see what kind of women that they wanted. And then one of us would go and approach women that were out there. The other one would come over with the guy and we'd all start talking. And if it was going well, we'd remove ourselves and then they would continue talking and enjoy their evening. But what happened over time was that these guys were mainly, you know, the Mr. Nice guys. So they weren't fully comfortable and confident in themselves. So they spent the 3 hours really just asking us questions and we ended up instructing them. Instead of introducing them to girls, we would just like give them tips and tricks and tactics and tools and practice doing approaches because they weren't ready yet to actually go and interact with women. And that's when I decided to flip what I was doing from being a live service to an educational service where I helped men learn how to become a man that women wanted so they could go out and do it themselves.
So, what do you think in all of your research is the biggest disconnect, maybe for both men and women? I feel like it's possibly that we're both thinking that we're thinking the same things. We have the same brains. When, like, even watching your videos, it's a great reminder to be like, hey, women don't think like you.
Mhm.
Like, that's number one great step.
Totally. People don't think like you.
Yeah,
People, exactly what you talked about at the beginning of like your child. Like everybody does not have that same history. The
right.
way that I'm looking at you right now is very different from the way that you're looking at me. Like your senses are triggering from something that may not be in sync with what I'm being triggered for
Yeah.
you. So I forget what the question was.
No, the question was like, what do you think is the biggest disconnect between the
Oh, the
sexes?
biggest disconnect. I really the lack of understanding yourself and the people that you're trying to go after, and fear, which is not the disconnect, but that is like the symptom. I think that fear is in place for so many people. Like even so my husband and I, we've been together for 17 and a half years
Oh,
now.
wow.
And we started taking this course called Safe Conversations like 6 months ago. And we work with they're couples counselors, but they're these specific therapists who specialize in safe conversations. And it's a man and a woman, a husband and a wife together coaching us like once a week, which is really fun. But they teach us about how to safely converse with the other person and bring up either a positive thing or bring up a negative thing. And in that conversation, the other person just has to sit and listen to the other person until they're completely through with this template dialogue that you're supposed to go through. And in
Wow.
that template dialogue, you express how you feel, you express where the feeling comes from, potentially from your childhood, what it reminds you of every time that you feel those things. And then if there's an action that can be switched or changed, you also highlight that, and the other person just has to like take it in and listen to you. And I think what I've learned from doing these safe conversations is that my husband and I both want the exact same things. We both have those same things that we crave. We didn't know that, but we both have those same things. But because of fear, we both get triggered, we both argue, we both defend, we both attack. And those true beautiful things that we want, we don't even get to sometimes because we're just dealing with all the chaos that we've created. So I think fear is so huge for so many people.
So once again, we can blame our parents. This is
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. It is
So
funny though, because the two therapists, they even said the same thing. They're like, this is your training from childhood that's telling you all this. Your parents weren't bad people. They're doing the best they can,
right.
but they're passing things on to you, things that you're taking in, you're not really understanding, like you're making up your own decisions about it. Your past really dictates who you are. And as you get older, you're trying to heal your past with the people that you bring into your life. But most people don't have the proper tools to actually do it. And because fear stops them from doing it.
So one of the things that I think I've been fearful of, and this is what you attack, is approaching women. Like once I'm like a woman's over, I can really talk to her. I think I'm really good. But it's like very much putting it almost like on a pedestal where I'm like, oh, this girl is this, or this girl is this category. She's this hot. She like I was very much raised to not be creepy. So how do guys push past that fear? Because I have a friend whose name's Joe who can just talk to anyone and sit in it. Like literally, we were out and he was just approaching girls. He's like, "What are you drinking?" And they're making this face. I'm like, "Oh no, it's the face that I'm terrified of."
But he pushes past it, right? Because
Pushes past this.
he knows he's
Yes.
not creepy. And really, it's getting past that fear, but also reprogramming your brain to understand you're not creepy. And like sometimes there are different tools and tactics that you can use to do that. So, like my clients, this is one tactic that really resonates with them. It's called prove it in court, where you have to tackle a specific belief that you have, and then you have to argue that belief in court as if you're in court trying to prove I am a creepy guy, I'm going to creep girls out. And you have to give the evidence to either prove that 100% you're going to creep girls out, or that you're maybe not going to creep girls out. And writing it down or speaking it out loud really helps to reprogram the brain, because you have all of these internal thoughts, and thoughts can be massive. They can go anywhere you want them to be. But when you speak them out loud, especially to another person, or you write them to another person, they become more realistic and logical. And then you can work through these things. But that's one of the best tactics for getting over that fear.
Is just to ask yourself, like, and also I think just practicing, right? I mean, that just feels
Totally.
like just keep doing it, it seems like.
But it's just pushing through it. That's the thing, right? And it's even hearing from somebody else that when a girl makes this face, doesn't mean that you're being creepy. It just means that she's like evaluating, right? Or you can make your own reason for it, right? Like hearing from somebody else about what that face means, or you drawing your own conclusion because you have tried pushing past it and been able to get to the laughter part where you're comfortable and
Yeah.
great. So yeah, it's experience. And then it's all, some people are too afraid to get past so they can explore more. Like most people are like, yeah, I went up to a girl, I said something, she made a face at me, and I walked away, and I'm never doing it again. Or I did to 5 girls, same thing, walking away. And what I tell guys is like, that face in the beginning is just a, who are you? I don't know you. Show yourself to me. And then I can calm down. So if you actually continued to talk, you actually could have warmed her up, dropped her barrier, if you know the things to say. And you could have actually had a great conversation with her.
That is exactly what happened. Joe just would sit there, and then next thing you know, I'm talking to every girl about Taylor Swift for 20 minutes.
Totally.
But that was a really good lesson for me. And that's another great thing you said in your video. And this again also goes back to Neville Goddard, is you're like, what if you assumed attraction?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is such a powerful thing to think when you go out.
Yes. It's so funny because so obviously I write those videos and then I take in what I say. And then recently I've been questioning, I'm like, do I actually do I still believe this stuff? Because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know.
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been going out and I think this is gonna sound so like egomaniac, but like when I go out, I think in my head, everybody's attracted to me.
That's
I didn't
beautiful.
think that 20 years ago. So I know that it's possible to change that programming in your brain to think that, but that is now how I see the world. They're going to want to talk to me. I'm interesting. Like I have that confidence in me now that I definitely did not have 20 years ago.
Is that just from all of the work you've been doing, dealing with dating and really? Okay, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. But I also, you know what, I also get constant confirmation from thousands of men almost every single day that I'm pretty awesome. So that's all, you know, I'm also getting the positive feedback. But I think a part of it is, yeah, I've done some really intense work and I continue to work on myself always.
Okay. What's some of the like really effective things you think you do to help you work on yourself?
One of the best things that I ever did was I went to go see this. It was the first like coach, not therapist, that I went to go see. I'm huge into coaching and versus
Yes.
but and I went to go see her and she gave me, I forget all the exercises she gave me, but the one most powerful one was from this book that she had called Taming Your Gremlin, or Notice. I think it's
Oh,
called,
I read that book. Don't worry.
yeah, okay, so Taming Your Gremlin.
I read that book.
And she got me to see this gremlin of mine. And I honestly remember rolling my eyes when she gave me the assignment, because she's like, okay, well, you're going to go home tonight. You're going to say to yourself, you're going to see your gremlin tomorrow. And then you're going to see your gremlin. You're going to see that little voice that's inside your head that is telling you something. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's telling you something that is keeping you from doing things that you want to do. And I was like, okay, I'm going to see a freaking gremlin in my house. And I followed the instructions. I went home. I said to myself in the mirror, I'm going to see my gremlin tomorrow. I said it before I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. I was brushing my teeth. And I swear on my life, I had a flash of this little tiny gremlin sitting on my sink that looked like Estelle from Friends. Remember, like the agent who just like smoked, saying,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they're not good enough. That's what she kept saying. And it like flashed in front of me for 2 seconds and I laughed at it. And I was like, okay, I see it. So that, and I went back and I told her about this. She goes, yeah, this is that little thing that you're letting rule your life. That little Estelle smoking gremlin that's telling you all these things. That is what's stopping you from being the person that you want to be. And that was really transformational for me. So
Mm,
that was one of the first things that I can really remember that had a huge impact on me.
that's really great. And I think to go off of the gremlin thing, you can really see it in dating by how much you're asking for what you want. And if you're not asking for what you want, if you're not really going for what you want, I think you got some gremlin issues. And this is talking from someone with experience with this shit. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Everybody has something. Like
Yeah.
there's always something there. I mean, there's also, you know, I don't want to go too far and saying you always have to be working on yourself. And like there's like I think what you have to work through things at different stages of your life and things are just going to pop up. That's human nature. But I think like everybody's got a little gremlin. And some people listen to it and some people don't.
Right. So you're married, you're with somebody. How do you stay interested in dating even if you are still with someone? Do you feel like that tapered off at all, or are you even more interested now?
Oh, no, I still date like tons of guys every single week. No, I'm just
I was like, whoa, this podcast just got awesome.
okay. Have you ever heard of an open marriage? Right. No.
This
No.
just got
How do
great.
I stay interested in it? So, I do my podcast once a week and I bring on single women or interesting people that I want to interview. So I stay really immersed in the topic and I sometimes, you know, get educated on some new things. But mostly overall, what I learned is that it's just really staying the same. But I do get deeper into the next part after dating because that's the stage that I'm at right now. And I'm
Right.
trying to navigate that. So I think I have a lot of content out there that will benefit people for dating and for relationships. And I think because I'm in this space of being in a relationship, having so much background on the information, I feel like I can now advise from a different point of view for people dating, which I feel like is the more calm, less black and white point of view. Like I feel like I
Right.
can add more context to the advice that I dished out 15 years ago.
Right. What do you say to the people who think like having a wing woman or a wingman and deploying some of these tactics is like kind of gross? Do you like what would you say to those people?
I really would say, I tell me more. Like I would just say, I want to understand their point of view. Like, I'm not opposed to that point of view. It just may not be for them, but I want to hear more about it.
I don't think gross. I guess I remember thinking, what was the one Neil Strauss, like peacocking and all that stuff. Like that's not what you teach, but like what do you think about that kind of stuff?
I think that stuff can be fantastic if it's used with the right intent. Many of those guys in the,
Yeah,
you know, the original like pickup artist world, they were really young. They were in their 20s, and now
right.
they've all gone the same direction, kind of I have, of, oh, now I get what it's like to be in a relationship and I can't treat women like this. And now I know what it's like to be here and here and here. So
Yeah,
I think,
isn't Neil Strauss like, "Oh, I was an asshole."
oh, 100%. He's like, yeah, I cheated on my wife. I'm like, he's in a very different space. He has kids now. He sees
Right.
it all differently. So I definitely had some people when I first started doing what I was doing and I said what I was doing, that would be like, oh, okay, that's what you do. But I'd say 80% of the people were like, that's awesome. That's really cool. Most men need that. I think most the people who are on the negative side, they don't fully understand. They wouldn't have said to me, tell me more, right? They just
Right.
reacted to, oh, like I don't need a girl to help me, get women, or that's disgusting that you're manipulating women, which that's not ever what I was doing.
Yeah. I just see it more like it's all psychology. And
Yeah.
it's not even like that's what I'm so fascinated by the psychology of it all because it's all energy, it's all psychology. And what I love about your stuff is like what you teach about how to get a girl is very similar to any other topic. Like same stuff with a job, same stuff with money. Like if you want to be creepy with a job, you can, and you can really fuck it up with your own thoughts and like
100%.
and be needy and like when you like had that video about like how to stop chasing, I'm like I was implementing that mindset for my career, like not even necessarily because women aren't. I don't chase as hard as like I have been known to chase jobs, and like I'm in the entertainment industry, so I'm like constantly auditioning, and I'm like, please like me, and I'm like, wait, this energy's terrible. It's the same exact
It
thing
is.
for everything.
But so how do you switch it? Like like if you are now an experienced person in the entertainment industry, like how do you switch off that energy? Do you just like how do you do it?
I watch your videos. No, for real though, like I have to catch myself because I think everybody has varying degrees of opinions and beliefs on different subjects, right? So like I know that for career, I have to be hyper aware of my former chasing needy tendencies. Just like I know some people have to view that way in relationships, like don't chase, which I really like that video you had about not chasing. And so I think it's really applicable to every subject. So that's what I have to do. Like I'm not saying like I'm dominating women, but for some reason I have less like when it comes to women.
Yeah, it's less crazy. That's all that it can be. Like, listen, I'm still a crazy person. I'm an anxious Jew at heart. Like, and I'm constantly trying to calm that down in some way. But if you
Right.
were to see my brain 20 years ago compared to my brain now, it is completely different around the topics that used to fluster me in the past, specifically guys and dating. I mean, now I'm married, so it's different. But
Right.
I don't have those same anxieties. I don't let those same things bother me as much as they did before. And that's
Yeah.
really all that it can be. It's not like you're eliminating anything.
Right.
You're just practicing it more, so it's more comfortable for you.
So what I loved in the chasing video, number one thing I love the most, which was don't get tunnel vision. And I feel like that is so important again in every subject of your life. Like if you're obsessed with something and it's not coming back to you, chances are you need to let it go and
Yeah.
believe that you have other options. Like I remember one time, this was like 5 years ago, my friend who was really good with girls, we met some girls and I started texting her a bunch that night. And he looked at me, he goes, do you know what your biggest problem is? He's like, you think that's the only girl you're going to meet tonight. And that is exactly what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I
100%.
got tunnel vision. So how do we not get tunnel vision and know that we have options with everything?
Okay, so it depends. So, like, let's say you have tunnel vision on this one girl that you've gone on 2 dates with. So, most guys, if they have tunnel vision on them, they're thinking about them 24/7. They're waiting for them to text. They're sitting around. They're not going out doing other things. They're just like, just putting their full focus onto that one thing. So I would do whatever will help you to become distracted with something else. So make plans with friends, go sign up for classes, do other things that will occupy your brain space and your time. And then if you're into affirmations or you're into self-talk, which I think everybody should be, it's
Yeah.
really talking yourself down off of that ledge by using that prove it in court type of exercise that I said before, or
Right.
simply saying things like, this is not the only girl. There's 20 other girls out there. This is not like, just repeating things that help motivate you in the right way to calm you down. And then if you want, go onto the apps and start talking to other women to sort of distract yourself. Or if even better, go out to a singles event or a meetup group so you can go talk to other people and see that you're interesting to so many different people and other people can be interested in you.
That's so great. And what is your thoughts on the apps? Do you feel like that's changed the game completely? Could you be a wing woman for a guy in an app and just be like, yo, post more pictures with fish?
I just think, oh God, I mean, I like just like everything with technology, there's a pro and a con to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a huge pro to online dating. Where else can you go to find this amazing pool of single individuals? But the con is, where else can you go to find this shitty pool of single individuals who don't respond back to you, who flake on you? You know what I mean? So I think it's how you, similar to the tunnel vision, it's how you tackle that arena and how you choose to use it. So I've watched my girlfriends use it and they're just like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. And obviously it's based on attraction. Knowing in advance that online is more superficial, that is a must for every single person who's on there. They do not know you. They cannot tell who you are from your picture. And most of the time you are better looking than what your pictures show. And
Or worse.
or that's what I was gonna say, or worse. Like some people only show their
Yeah.
really good sides, and then you might be disappointed when you see them in person. So, like again, superficial. You don't get a full 3D visual of that person. But like when my girlfriends use it, I don't know who they think they are, but like the people that they're picking, I'm just like, this is not who you're matching. It's just not. It's not. And the people that they're skipping over, I'm like, this is what your last boyfriend looked like and who you liked and what they did. It's just like it's a skewed way to think about things. And then people don't really think about what it is they want when they're using online and what they're looking for. And even when writing their profiles, many men specifically don't write who they are. They write what they think will catch the attention of the masses. So you don't really give a true visual of who you are on those profiles. So if you are smarter about using them and you can use them and really use it from a place of, this is what I'm looking for. These are the values that are really important to me. And then take your time to look through people and look through their profiles. I think you'd have a better response rate and you'd have better success online.
My favorite is just like whenever I talk to girls about their profiles, they're like, oh God, I have like 90 guys interested in me. I'm like, I got one.
No, I know. I feel so bad for men on there. But I also, on the flip side, I feel so bad for women because it messes them up too, because they don't have
absolutely.
They don't have 90 guys who want them, because the 3 guys that they're actually interested in don't write them back.
Right.
Like usually the guy doesn't even initiate. Like everybody matches with each other, then nobody talks to each other. It's just it's a whole head game.
And 83 of those guys want to send their dick off as a sweet pic of their dick. So it's like, no, it's not easy. So one of the best things you said, this whole podcast is me just quoting you to you.
Tell me more.
No, you said this amazing quote. This goes back to the beginning of what we talked about, which is when you're about to go start dating somebody, ask yourself the following question. Do you want a partner or do you want validation? Holy shit.
I didn't say that, but that's a great thing.
You definitely said that. 100%.
You said that? Oh,
yes. Yes, 100%.
Fantastic. I don't remember saying that, but I think that's amazing. It's true. It's like, yeah, do you want to? It's funny. My husband actually said something similar to me, because when I first started dating him, it's 23, 24, and he was 33, 34. Just a little bit more, mature than me. And I had just started my business, and I would get kind of mad at him that I couldn't bounce business ideas off of him. And he looked at me and he said, do you want a business partner or do you want a partner in life? Because the partner in life I can be, the business partner I can't. So go find somebody else. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, that's good and very sexy. I mean, he was a little bit sweeter. He was pretty firm about it, but he was very, that first of all turned me on, and then also gave me really good clarity because I was expecting this person to be everything for me. Like,
Yes.
I can be a partner in life and I will be the best one possible, but not a business partner for you.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to what we were talking about with your childhood, which is like you don't want to use the arena for relationships to work out your own shit on somebody else. And you want to try to show up as
You're going to. That's the whole thing.
you're
Like, you're
going to, but like I think you do want to show up as much as healthy as you can, right? Where you're not trying to get something from somebody else. But that's
totally.
tough. And I know that's
It's
tough.
so interesting because, like, I love that you just said that, and like that is what I'm preaching all the time. But then I do think I'm like, there's so many guys that I'm working with who are up against women who are not their best selves yet, and then so should they be denied love?
Right. It's
And
tough.
and then I'm like, there's so many people who like aren't getting therapy, don't have access to these kind of conversations because it's just not in their world. Like, I don't know. This is like me
And then
going
who's to say like that they're healthy? Like I'm making that
right.
call. Like it doesn't matter. I know it. None of this fucking matters.
No, but it's I've only been thinking about that the past 3 years. I'm like, oh, but what about these other women who don't know what they want that you're coming up against? Like, how do I still help you get that girl, right? And
Right.
steer her in the direction to get more clarity, or be okay with the fact that she doesn't have clarity and you do, and you're just more calm in who you are.
I just think it's always a good idea to be giving, like in every situation, like just to be the most closest to unconditional love as you can be. And then like sometimes what happens in relationships, especially when you're younger, is you're using it as a way to really fix all of your shit.
100%.
And that's when it becomes tough because now exactly what you said. Now they're your therapist. Now they're your business coach. Now they're it's like, and nobody really ultimately wants that.
No, I mean, I think at the core we think we do, but I don't think that that's healthy to have
Right.
everything. Listen, you want compatibility. You want somebody that talks about the same things that you have interest in, for sure. Those should be the basics for any relationship that you have. But I think it's really your brain isn't fully formed until you're 25, 26 years old, right? So like it's hard to know these things and to not let your childhood affect you. Like, I didn't know that my childhood was affecting me in my relationships until I was 30 something and I was doing deeper work on myself. And I don't know if I would have benefited from knowing that when I was 25 or if I could process it the same way.
So you had another video recently where you said basically women don't necessarily love hot guys. But if that's true, why does every woman want to fuck Joe Biden?
Because he's so sexy. That was funny. That was really good. That got me. I was like, wait a second.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to throw you off. But that video was fascinating because this is what I was saying earlier about like thinking that women think the same way guys do. So like definitely if a guy sees a hot woman, he puts her on this pedestal. Most
Yeah.
likely, not all the time.
I do that too when I see a woman, by the
Oh,
way.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
You
An
call it the
attractive
hey,
woman. They still
yeah.
throw me off my game a little bit. When somebody's really pretty, you can't help but like want to look at them and be like, you're really attractive. And it throws you off a little bit because they're just like so pretty to look at.
Yeah, and you call it the halo effect. So how do we get past that?
You just have to check in with yourself again and just be like, hey, she's pretty. What else is she? Right? Or there's a way
Great.
to remind yourself of, okay, she's pretty. I'm pretty good looking too. And I've got this, and this. It's just like arming yourself with things, not in the moment. It can be in the moment, but beforehand as well. Like going through those practices of acknowledging who you are, what your values are, what you bring to the table, what you have to offer. Like you're pretty freaking awesome. Again, one of the first exercises that I have guys do is write down like what is amazing about them. Like what are the great things about you? And so many guys write to me saying like, I couldn't get past 3. And I'll write to them and I'll tell them like 5 things just that I know about them because they bought my program. Right. So I know
Right.
for a man who wants to work on himself, that's freaking amazing. A man who can ask for help, that is not very common. Like I give them the list of these great things, and that helps them complete their list and then add to it. And then they can't stop because they're starting to recognize all these little things that maybe they didn't consider great things, but that they see from through my eyes as great, and women's eyes, that these are the things that we're actually seeing as great, instead of I've got good abs, I've got a good job, and I'm super attractive.
Yeah, because one of the things you said was like, it's not about looks, but can't you just make up for what you lack in looks and personality with cold hard cash?
Totally. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you're good looking, you're rich. I'm gonna pay attention to you for a little bit longer. And I might fight for you too, for your attention, for you to want me. Doesn't mean I'm ultimately going to want you back.
Right. So what would be, we're talking about Mr. Nice Guys for guys. What would be the female version of that for women? What would be the nice guys for women, do you think?
I'll ask you that. What is the nice guys for women?
Man.
It's kind
That's
of
a,
like the nice girl as well, isn't it?
yeah, the cool girl. How about that? Where it's like kind of being like, no, I'm really cool with, and I've experienced this a lot in dating. No, no, I'm really cool with us being casual. Then a year later, she's like, I'm going to kill you. I fucking hate you.
I'm going to chop off your penis. So
Yeah,
you
I
can chop
actually
your
hate you. And I'm like, well, I wish this could have been discussed a year earlier. But that's happened to me a lot dating.
And
Just girls.
I've done that stuff a lot as well, because yeah, you're totally right. That is the other side of the coin for women, of like, I'm just like, yeah, sure, walk all over me. Sure, do this, do that, do that. And you're totally
Yeah.
okay with it, but really you're stewing and really upset.
And then it comes out later and it's really not great.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah. I have fallen victim to that many, many times. And
So,
it
but
sucks.
what? Yeah. So, but what is the balance, the delicate balance of being vulnerable and being strong? Because you just mentioned something about your husband calling you out, and it seems like women are like, my husband called me a piece of shit, and I fucking was never so attracted to him in my life. I'm like, what? Really? That's what it is? But like, then girls will turn around and be like, I want vulnerability, and I'm always like, I feel like that's kind of true. I don't know. What is your take on that?
Well, we can want both of those things, right? We want you to
Yeah.
be bold and straight with what it is that you want and speak your mind, but we also want you to be vulnerable with us and tell us that it hurt you when we did X, Y, and Z, or like that it hurt your feelings, or that you really like it when you get text from me in the middle of the night. Like that is
Mm,
being vulnerable with your emotions, and then being firm about who you are and what you expect and how you want to be treated. Yeah, that's intoxicating for women as well. So
okay.
I think the balance of like, on the flip, okay, on one side for the girls, I'll speak for the women now. Instead of just saying like, hey, yeah, sure, go out with your friends for another night and leave me at home. I would say, hey, I was really hoping that we could spend some time with each other. Kind of hurts my feelings a bit that, you know, you want to go out with your friends again. In the future, can we, you make your request for what you want that would make you feel better? Like, in the future, can you let me know 24 hours in advance? In the future, can we make plans a week in advance so that like I'm not just assuming we're going to hang out on Saturday and you're not feeling the pressure that I need to hang out with you on Saturday?
Right. Yeah. Or I'll just have her join my fantasy football team. She'd love
Exactly.
it.
And then she can
Yeah.
join in. I
She
mean,
would.
that's the cool girl. But this is one thing, and maybe I'm being completely anti-feminist saying that. I don't know what this would be categorized as, but I really think, for the benefit of men and women, if men can be the ones to carry this torch and lead conversations like that, it ends up in better relationships overall. Because
Conversations about like spending time together.
conversations about like boundaries, limitations, and expectations. So even for a guy to say like, hey, I love hanging out with you and I want this relationship to continue to grow the way that it's going, but my alone time is really important to me. Doesn't mean I don't want to be with you. It means I
Mm.
need a day to recharge for myself, and that could be sitting in my room listening to an audiobook or going out with my friends. Doesn't mean I love you any, like things like that. Like, here's what I would like in the future. I think when women bring it up, no matter how cool they can be about it, there is, and this is my own insecurities, there is this, she's nagging type of
Mm.
thing, right? She wants more. She wants too much of me. So at least for my benefit, I would appreciate and I love when the man can lead conversations like that.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because the next question I have is exactly up this alley, which is how much of dating, modern dating, do you think has been kind of fucked up by the changing definition of gender roles? And it's not to say that we're not feminists and all
I
this
think
stuff.
it's fucking it up because I don't know how to talk anymore. I'm so like that old woman who's like, I don't know what to say and what is right and what is wrong and who I'm going to insult by saying things. So in terms of the advice giving side of dating, yeah, it's fucking me up because I'm afraid to say things at certain points.
But I just
I
think
don't know
like
how much it's messed things up.
I think that the further you dig in, the more conversations I have with people offline, not on podcasts, like
Yeah.
real conversations with, I have a lot of girl comma friends. Almost always, top thing they always say, more or less comes back to, I wish my guy was being more of a guy. And I feel like that they can't say that publicly because they feel like it's like, anti-feminist or all this shit. And it's like, that's okay to want that. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to want that.
Totally
That's
okay to want that. Yeah. Well, I think I don't. Would you really get did I just?
no,
Is that why I was
no,
like,
no,
oh,
no,
you
no,
didn't
no.
get
But
that?
I just
No, but
feel
it's
like,
interesting. It's like I wonder. I don't think I would be afraid to say that. What I would say is on a podcast. I think it needs to have more words attached to that. Like
yeah,
it's like what is a guy,
right.
right?
Well,
Like, what does that
that's
mean?
another thing. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's interesting that they would be afraid to say it. I don't. Oh God, see, this is how outdated I am. Maybe people would attack them. They attack people for anything. I could say
Not like not like actually afraid, but they would like it
they would
gets
never say it so bluntly.
it gets tiptoed. Like it's very much like circling around this one very strong fact, specifically during sex. And I've talked about this a lot on my podcast. Any girl that's like anything that's aggressive that you do to her in the bedroom, she was like, "Oh my god, I love that you do that." And as a guy, that's so confusing with all the Me Too stuff and all that. But you're like, "Oh well, that's okay. This should just be talked about more and cleared up." Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video about that because that's interesting. No, because it is interesting because like you always hear women say like, "Yeah, I want you to like throw me up against
Yes.
a wall and like do me," but
Yeah.
then on the flip side, they're saying, "Yeah, I went out with this guy who threw me up against a wall." And I hated it, and I thought he was assaulting me. It is totally confusing for most men. I think exactly what we were saying before with the boldness and the vulnerability, or the I forget what the other word was that we were saying before, but it's the same thing. It's like a mixture of both. It's like I'm connected to you. I see that I want to respect you, but
Mm-hmm.
like I also know how to give it to you, right? You have to have that balance in your relationship, whether it's after a first date or a second date or 10 years together. But I think you can be a bit of both, right?
Right.
A woman
Right.
doesn't want to be like have sex that way. Like I watched the show Euphoria. Do you watch that show?
A little bit. A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every time they have sex, it's literally kiss for 3 seconds, grab her boobs, turn her around, and then do her from behind in like 2 minutes. Right? That's sex for them. And I'm just like, that is not how I would ever want sex to be. But
Right.
I would love like that passion of some guy looking at me that I'm dating, be like, I just want to rip your clothes off right now. And I give that look back to him. And then he goes for me and he rips off my clothes and we have sex. I don't
Mm,
think I ever really want to just be whipped around, especially,
right.
but like, I think there's mixed messages for people on what sex is and what women want. I think the more details are needed. So I think that's a good video that I could do one time because I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's great. All right, last question. Then I want to play a quick game. So, most of my listeners are women. So, what would you say to women who are having similar struggles as some of the guys you coach?
Oh wow. Okay, well, similar struggles. Give me a topic for me to.
Like scare, like not meeting guys or thinking. A complaint I hear a lot about from women is there's no good guys out there, which
There are
I
a
just
ton of good guys out there, but a lot of good guys are really scared and nervous, like you were saying before, to creep them out. So I would say, like, help your brother out a little bit and get him comfortable. So I'll tell the story about my sister-in-law. So after she got divorced, she went back out and dating. She was dating a few guys, never really found anybody special. And then she went to a barbecue at her friend's house, and she was talking to this guy there that her friend wanted her to meet, and they were having so much fun. And they decided to go on a date. So then they went on their date, and she called me from the bathroom and she's like, Marni, I don't know what to do. When I met him at the barbecue, he was like asking me questions and we were talking back and forth, and it was so much fun. And I was like, well, most likely what's happening is either he's reading a lot of information about, how to be on a date. It's overwhelming
yeah.
him, and he's just asking you question after question because he thinks like that's what's happening. He's not really giving much of himself. So go back to the table, put your hand on his forearm, look him in the eyes and smile, because that's saying to him, I'm present, I'm in this, I'm with you.
That's so God. That would melt me, man, if a girl did that
Yeah.
to me.
Because you're nervous. Like that's the whole thing. I think women have this perception that men got it down. They're not nervous. They're not feeling pressure on themselves. Or even if they do know that, they don't care and they still expect them to override that. But if
Yes.
you actually help a man calm down, you might get the best man coming your way. So
Wow,
she
this is
did
great.
that, and she wrote me later and she's like, Marni, your voodoo magic worked. I did that. And he started calming down. We had the best time ever and just had a 45-minute makeout session in my car. And I was like, okay.
Wow, that is so awesome.
So again, like just help a brother out sometimes.
That's so
As a
nice.
woman, you're in the great position. He's attracted to you. He likes you already. Just like let him know it's okay to be himself.
Wow, that's so good. All right, so I like to close by playing a game called Spiritual or Asshole, where I say some things and you tell me if it's spiritual or asshole. Are you down?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Spiritual or asshole, assuming that a guy should pay on the first date.
Logical. I guess spiritual.
Great. Spiritual or asshole, the shit sandwich compliment technique. For example, hey, you have really nice hair. I hate your fucking guts. Great nails.
Spiritual. I think, yeah.
All right, spiritual or asshole, going out in your late 30s and instead of being really excited about meeting someone, you're really excited about finding a place to sit.
Spiritual.
All right, spiritual or asshole, faking confidence until it shows up.
Spiritual.
Spiritual or asshole, setting timetables to define the relationship.
Painful is actually the word I would use. I don't know how to answer that one because I don't think that's good for you, but I think it's what most people do. And I don't think you're an asshole if you do that.
No, that's good. Oh,
You're
so
kind of an asshole to yourself by doing that.
all right, great. Spiritual or asshole, wanting to show her that you're an alpha male, so you have sex listening to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh God. Not an asshole. That's just an insecure person. It's spiritual, I guess.
All right, spiritual or asshole, when women test you by making you hold a baby, you show them that you're up for it by dropping the baby.
I think that's funny. So spiritual.
Spiritual or asshole, being super upfront about your intentions with someone. Do you think that's good or should we withhold shit?
I think you should always hold on to something, but slowly let stuff out. So spiritual.
That's really good. All right. Last question I ask everybody. If you could tell people one thing to tell themselves all day long, what would it be?
The only way to get what you want is by opening up your mouth and asking for it.
That's great. We've never had that one. That's really good.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, that was an original.
That's mine.
Oh, that's fucking great. Hell yeah. All right. We want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, just go to Wing Girl Method, sign up for my newsletters, and I will tell you everything that you can get access to after that. Free information, free videos, free podcasts, programs at home, tons of stuff. So winggirlmethod.com.
And your Instagram's great too. Come on.
Oh, thank you. I honestly, I don't even run my Instagram. I just no.
You're like this whole podcast. You're like, I don't know them. I don't know my content.
I don't know what videos are you talking about.
I don't know my stuff.
I don't write those. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you.